John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown, was a husband and a father, but he was also a repeated sex offender who victimized countless people during his lifetime. He was caught sexually assaulting two teenage boys in 1968 and sentenced to 10 years in jail, but due to his exemplary behavior as an inmate, he was released on parole after serving just 18 months. Once he was released from jail, Gacy briefly remarried and became a popular and jovial member of society. He enjoyed dressing up as Pogo the Clown and volunteering at children's parties, parades, and other community gatherings. He was a respected businessman and well liked by his neighbors. During the 6 years between the time he got out of jail and when he was finally arrested again for suspicion of kidnapping, Gacy murdered an astounding 33 young men. He buried most of the bodies in the crawl space of his house, in his yard, and later, when he started to run out of space, he dumped them in a nearby river. He would lure hitchhikers, male prostitutes, and other young men and boys into his car or his home, then torture, rape, and murder them. After he was arrested and the police found the bones in his basement, Gacy issued a full confession and was executed in 1994. Gary Ridgway. Known as a Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway strangled at least 71 women in Washington state during the 1980s and 90s. His first 5 victims were discovered in the Green River, which is how he earned his nickname. He was finally arrested after DNA evidence linked him to several missing women, and he took a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty. In exchange, Ridgway agreed to disclose the location of all of his victims' bodies. Ridgway would pick up prostitutes and runaways, earn their trust by showing them a photo of his son, and then strangle them either with his bare hands or with ligatures. He would often return to the bodies to have sex with them or arrange them in various poses. Despite having an IQ of only 82, Ridgway managed to avoid being caught for over a decade until he was finally caught in November of 2001. Ridgway is still alive and serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole in Washington state. Henry Lee Lucas. Once listed as America's most prolific serial killer, Henry Lee Lucas killed at least 350 people over the course of 20 years, though he confessed that he was involved in up to 600 murders. Lucas was the inspiration for the movie Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. After murdering his own mom, Lucas spent 10 years in jail but was eventually released due to overcrowding. Once he got out, he became a drifter in the southern states of the US, making friends with Otis Toole, a man who would become his accomplice in over 108 murders and other crimes. In 2001, Lucas died in prison of natural causes at the age of 66. Richard Trenton Chase. Nicknamed the Vampire of Sacramento, Richard Trenton Chase was most famous for drinking the blood of his victims and eating parts of their bodies. He killed 6 people over the course of 1 month in Northern California in 1977. Chase spent time in a mental hospital after being caught capturing small animals and devouring them raw, sometimes blending the corpses with Coca-Cola in a blender to make a milkshake. After being treated with antipsychotic medications, he was released, and that's when he started killing humans. Chase murdered 6 people, including 2 children, and engaged in sex with their bodies after he murdered them. He would also drink and bathe in their blood and eat their internal organs. Chase was finally caught in 1979 after murdering an entire family. His defense tried to get him a lesser charge due to his history of insanity, but the jury found him guilty and he was sentenced to death by the gas chamber. Chase then killed himself in jail in 1980 by saving up his prescription antidepressant medicine and taking a lethal overdose in his cell. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Until tomorrow, goodbye.